It is Sunday, it is sunny out, and I think it's time to go on a random waypoint adventure. I have no idea where I'm going today. I'm going to narrow this down to New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, parts of Colorado, or Utah. All I know is the weather's generally pretty good in the region, so I should not hit any unexpected blizzards. But I don't know where I'm going today, and that's the fun part. I have some rules and goals for this trip. One, find a waypoint. Obviously, that's the first one. Second, if I do stay anywhere tonight, I want to make sure it's a reasonably decent hotel, but under $70. Number three, I want to keep my meals inexpensive. It's getting very expensive to eat at restaurants these days. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to find like taco stands or burrito places. Basically, I want to avoid the main chain fast food places because they're just, ugh, I don't want to die. I already have enough issues trying to deal with cholesterol, so let's not add to it with Burger King. I'm gonna get sued for this, aren't I? And the final goal is to see what side quests are available on the way home. I'm going to be basically making a pin to wherever I end up going today and going directly there. I'm not going to be scouring the maps to figure out what's around it. I'm just going to let the day progress as it does. Let serendipity determine things. Let's go see where we're going.
I am on my way to New Mexico, northern part, almost the Colorado border, in fact. It's going to be about an 8-hour trip. And right now, just took my first leg stretch break, also known as tinkle time, if you catch my drift. Anyhow, I have to do some thinking about how this is all going to play out today, because the sun goes down around 5:15 in that part of New Mexico tonight. And the last bit is off a Forest Service road. I don't know what condition it's going to be in, if they got any, ruts or mud or anything from the recent storms. So it could be drive really close to it, be, really quick walk to the waypoint, or I may have to stop the car and do more of a hike. And if that's the case, I'll be getting there well after it's dark, and I'm not sure I want to be doing any hiking in the dark, even though I have a flashlight. There's probably bears or skunks or porcupines or hillbillies out there, so I have to make a decision on what I want to do. See if I can get to the waypoint this evening, or it's gonna be something I'm doing first thing tomorrow morning. Logistics. So we'll see how the day goes. If I do any dawdling whatsoever, like I'm doing right now, I'll definitely be getting there after sunset, so that might not be the best way to go. Anyhow, it's probably time to get back on the road. I'm listening to a good podcast, You Don't Know Mojack, which covers all the SST releases from start to finish in order of the catalog number. It's a really good road trip podcast stuff. Actually, the only podcast I really listen to. So that's been keeping me going. My next stop will be in Globe to get some gas. And then it's onwards to New Mexico while I figure out if I want to go straight to the waypoint, or if I want to do a little dawdling along the way. This goes along old Route 66, might take some photos. And if that's the case, I'll just find a hotel, potentially in Farmington would be my guess. If I can find a motel room tonight that actually fits into my criteria for price and not be in a roach-infested hellhole. So I have pulled over because I saw a roadside sign that might be a little information about this part of Arizona. Let's go check it out. And as you can see, this is very much some lost history of Arizona. Yeah, I'm finding myself dawdling. I will not be getting to the waypoint this evening because the ETA is already past sunset. So instead, I'm going to find things alongside of the road to take pictures of as I go. And this abandoned, I think it was like supposed to be a resort or something. I've passed by so many times on the highway, but never actually stopped to take some photos. So that's what I shall do now, because I do love the abandonment photos. So I think the order of events that will be coming up, I will be stopping in a town called Sholo to grab a sandwich. And I think at that point, I'm going to kind of try to determine where I'm going to stay tonight. I'll do some looking in the various towns that will be candidates for being close enough to the waypoint. That includes Cortez, Colorado, Farmington, New Mexico, maybe Grants, New Mexico, or perhaps Cuba, New Mexico. Either way, I'm going to try to find a reasonably decent motel to stay at that's not overpriced and not full of bed bugs and meth labs. So that will be the determining factor. So back to the road I go. Decisions have been made. So it became very evident that I was not going to get to the waypoint before sunset, and walking around in a pine forest at night with a flashlight with unfamiliar terrain did not seem like the wisest thing to do, even though probably quite hilarious for YouTube content. But you're just going to have to live with the fact that I'm not going to do that for you. Instead, I went ahead and looked around to find a place to stay tonight, and it turned out that Durango, Colorado actually had some of the best prices for hotels tonight. And I did find what looks like a really nice one under $70, so accomplishing my goal. It is about a 5-hour drive from where I have my lunch in Sholo, Arizona. But I'm going to actually take a slightly longer route because there's some cool places I want to check out and show off to you guys. One of them is a Canyon de Chelly, which is on the Navajo Nation. It is Arizona's other really awesome canyon. I'm kind of hoping there's some autumn foliage going on there, so that's fingers crossed we get that. And there's also a really awesome viewpoint that you can almost see everything from there. And once again, I hope it's not hazy or anything that detracts from the viewpoint. So I have my day set. Tomorrow morning will be the adventure to the waypoint itself, which is about a 2-hour drive from Durango. And then I have a couple decisions to make about where to go after that. There's some really cool badlands to explore in New Mexico. And I think I may end up doing one of those hikes that I've had planned for a long time. So for the next couple hours, I'm just concentrate on driving, and I'll turn the camera back on if anything interesting starts to happen. When I got to the Antelope House viewpoint at Canyon de Chelly, I ended up talking to a Navajo artist who was painting rocks right by the trailhead. I ended up buying one of his little pieces, which I will show a picture of here, because I was actually carrying cash for the first time in a long time, and it was really nice to support a native artist. His stuff was super cool. Afterwards, I walked to the Antelope House viewpoint to take a few photos. I decided not to talk on camera there because Canyon de Chelly is a bit of a sacred place of Navajo people, and I didn't really feel like going blah 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 into my GoPro at the time. So I will show some of the walk and some of the photos I took of the Antelope House ancient dwellings. And it was on to the next viewpoint. After getting my photos, I ended up chatting with the Navajo guy for a bit longer and then headed up to this viewpoint where you can see into Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and basically the place where you can see almost everything. And from this point, it was about a 2-hour drive in the dark to my motel in Durango, Colorado.
All right, I am in Durango, Colorado. Just had some amazing tacos, and I figured I'd come back and do a little, really quick room tour at the place I'm staying at. It is little, but it is more than adequate. Looks like it's one of those places that got updated recently. Decent little shower. Nice little vanity area. All right. Well, this has been a long day, over 500 miles of driving, and the first thing I'll do tomorrow will be to head to the Waypoint, which I'm kind of glad I didn't try to go to straight away because I think I'd have gotten there after dark, and that would have been just a disaster. So it's about a 2-hour drive from here, and then afterwards I will plot out some hiking in the Badlands of New Mexico, which I've been looking forward to doing for a while. And we'll just see how tomorrow goes and hope for no disasters.
Well, good morning. I am about 17 to 20 miles away from the Waypoint, just off of Highway 64 in northern New Mexico. I've been driving for an hour and a half maybe from Durango. Enjoying the drive. If you've seen some montage of that. Anyhow, as I get closer, there's a few things I have to consider about what I'm going to be facing. For one, I have to drive on a Forest Service road for a little bit. This region got a lot of rain recently, and the big storms that came through. And I have noticed that some of these side roads have been very rutted. There's a lot of heavy work trucks that go along them. So here's an example. This one's not so bad. Pulled up on the dirt road here, and seemed like they're giving me the eye, like maybe I shouldn't be down on this slight side road. Anyhow, like I was saying, there is a good chance that there could be some ruts on this road. It may be impassable. Like I said, my car only has about 7 inches of clearance, so I'm not going to take any huge risks. That said, I hope to get as close as possible to it. I'd like to keep the walking to a minimum because I would like to do some hiking later today, and depending on how much time this eats up determines what else I do today on my way back to Tucson. So we have set the table. We shall see how close we can get to the waypoint and whether it's feasible to walk to it. Stay tuned. The guy in this pickup let me know that the road got extremely steep and difficult in just a little bit, so I realized I was going to have to find a spot to pull over before I got to that point. It's always good to get a little hint from a local. And here's where it started getting really ugly. Alright, it's time to be on foot. Went around this corner here and the ruts got a little bit scary. The guy in the pickup truck back there warned me that there was a steep grade ahead, and he did not think that my car would make it, and I believe he was absolutely right. Always listen to a local. So I'm about 2,300 feet in a straight line away from the waypoint. Right now it's starting to look good for actually making it there without getting thwarted. The fact that I was able to get this close makes me very happy. And this, oh my goodness, this would have been impassable when those storms are coming through. You know, I might have made it up here, but there's times where you just don't get stupid. I'll save that for another video. Let's see, what is the elevation here? Because I can already feel 7,322 feet. Oh, I feel that. So I think I'm going to just take an easier pace. Oh boy, I am so glad I stopped. Because after this cattle guard, this gets really, really bad. Yeah, I wouldn't have made it through this. Lost an oil pan. But close enough to be convenient. All right, I think this is the grade he was talking about. This is definitely fairly steep here. Fine for foot traffic, fine for a Jeep or a truck, not fine for a juke. It's absolutely gorgeous here though. It smells like pine tree, brisk weather. See the mountains off in the distance, which you probably can't because this lens isn't a zoomy like that. But you can see clear to the Colorado Rockies, which are pretty spectacular. So this hill is very steep. It's more than 5% grade, that's for sure. Just watched a Ford pickup come up this. They weren't having any problems, but Definitely need some clearance. This is not gonna be fun to come back up here in a few minutes. But shortly I'm gonna be going down into the woods over there. And I'm really glad I didn't try to do this last night. This would have been scary. All right, it is time to get off this dirt road, walk into the wilderness. And I hope there are no bears up here, or they're hibernating already. Don't they know it's November? So I'm about 600 feet away from the waypoint now in a straight line. Let's go get it. Well, this forest is a little bit thick. "276 feet away, but there's no straight line to get there. Just gotta work with this terrain a bit. Oh heck. Gotta wash here. And I gotta figure out how to safely get down and up. I think I see a path. Whew. Altitude. All right, the footing's a little bit better than some of the desert stuff that I deal with back in Arizona. A little bit of bushwhacking necessary here. We'll go through these rocks. Okay. 100 feet away. Roughly this direction. Getting close. "40 feet away. Oh, I'm 12 feet away. This tree is basically at the waypoint area. Whew. Or it's behind me? Here we go with these circling around trees thing again. Well, essentially this is the spot. Take a screenshot. It says I'm 12 feet away. I've been kind of circling around wherever it is. But we're here. Nice little spot in the forest. Let's see how much. 0.63 miles of walking, 20 minutes. Can't complain. All right, I'm gonna go find a log to sit on for a minute, drink some fluids, and head back to the car. And start plotting the next move I'm gonna make for the day as I head back home. But hey, success. So given how rutted and basically unmaintained some of these New Mexico roads can get, I honestly was not sure we're gonna make it today or not, but I'm very pleased that I got really close. Relatively short walk, and got up here without a big problem. I can see quite a bit of evidence of some of the running water that happened during the last storms. So I'm sure it was not the easiest to do, even with four-wheel drive and whatever equipment's necessary. Things that I will not be doing. Anyhow, I'm gonna try to find an easy way to get back down to the road. I think I see a path kind of going down here. And make my way up that big, long, steep hill, get back to the car, and head on to probably the Badlands area to do at least a 3-mile hike somewhere. I got a couple in mind. I need to kind of decide which one has the least likely issues with the roads to get there. So we don't know how the rest of the day is going to go, but as usual, we'll find out. I'm essentially now following these game tracks down the hill. They know this territory better than I do. They don't do a very good job of updating, Google Maps or anything to tell people where the trails are. So they really need to get on that. But the downhill part of this has been a lot easier than going the uphill. And here we are, back at the road. Probably about a half mile to get back to the car. Unfortunately, up that big hill. But if you see this video on YouTube, that means I didn't die, which is always the number one goal when I set up these episodes. Get home in one piece. All right, I'm gonna put this away and huff and puff my way up. All right, I'm back to the car. That hill did its best to try to kick my butt, but I persevered. All right, let's see what the total mileage was there. 1.26 miles, 37 minutes of walking. All right. Time to drink some water and plan the route to my next stop. All right, I just went through a little bit of indecision time. I found a truck stop that I did not know was there, so I'm really happy it was, because I kind of needed to use the facilities and not gas up and then look at the maps to figure out what I was going to be doing next. My original plan was to go up to the Badlands area, which would be to the right, which I'm not going. But when I was looking at it, it'd be too much backtracking, and chances are I'd probably get home a little bit too late tonight for my own comfort. So thus, I looked and saw there was another trail I wanted to do going this direction. And more importantly, I can get lunch here in about 25 minutes because I'm getting pretty hungry. So after lunch, I will head out to a trail. Not a terribly long one, but one I have on my map that I wanted to check out. I'll do that, and then I'll start making my way back home. Well, this is a bummer. I mentioned in previous videos to watch out for rocks on the desert dirt roads, and I must have run something over, or who knows. Hopefully it can be patched up. I guess I'm going to change the tire, put the spare on, and head into city near Albuquerque to find a place to patch up. Fun. Well, it's not one of these adventures if something weird doesn't happen. Yay. First things first, we'll see if it'll hold some air. It did not, in fact, hold air. I had blown out the sidewall of the interior of the tire after I had run over that culvert I had pointed out a little bit earlier. As I drove back in off the desert road, I saw that there was some exposed metal, and somehow I managed to have just the perfect line to go ahead and slash my tire. So I put on the donut tire, got it aired up, and headed into town to a Big O Tires that was about 25 minutes away, so it was actually fairly convenient. I was there for about an hour. They were able to replace the tire. They had one in stock, and they were able to get me on my way without too much of a hassle, and I really appreciated that. It was roughly a 7-hour drive home from just northwest of Albuquerque, and I decided that I would just call it a trip and just hit the road and make my way back home. The total day ended up being about 680 some miles, which I used to make a rule on my road trips to not drive more than 550 miles in a single day because it is exhausting. But I was just ready to get home. I did not do any more filming after this point because I was just pretty much over it. Although this flat tire was only just a mere inconvenience, it still kind of put an end to the fun parts of the trip. But on the plus side, I was able to find my waypoint with very little actual hassle. And it was an absolutely gorgeous trip seeing all the autumn leaves in Colorado and New Mexico and Arizona. That said, next time I see a slightly exposed culvert on a dirt road, I'm going to try to veer completely around it.